And they're off.
Further Faster, the best independently owned outdoor store in the known universe. Whether you are heading out on climbing, paddling, tramping, or running adventures, look no farther than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs over the shoulder season months. We are heading into spring. I can feel it. Ali, can you feel it?
I can. There's blossoms out today.
There's blossoms, but it's also snowing in Hamner Springs, goodness me, and Wellington. But anyway, head over to 57A Buchan Street, Sydenham, Otutahi, Christchurch, or hit them up at furtherfaster.co.nz. We love Further Faster. They've been our ride or die since basically day one. It goes something like further, faster, they're in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to Further Faster now.
Oh, further, faster, they're in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to Further Faster now.
Dirt Church Radio.
Episode 338 of the Dirt Church Radio Trail and Ultramarathon podcast. I'm Matt Raymond.
I'm Ali Pottinger.
Buddy, it's so nice to see you. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I'm back from a wonderful long weekend down in Wellington in the Wairarapa. Had a really cool run, hike, snowy adventure, which was great in the beautiful Tararua Ranges, and snuck in a cheeky vineyard visit. I'm flying, mate. I'm flying. How are you?
Oh, no, amazing. You sent Andrew and I photos of your run. It's so cool. Like, that's proper snow. That's not a dusting.
Yeah.
That is snowing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
First time I ever ran in snow was in my first Kepler, and I burst into tears.
Oh, did
because,
you?
Yeah. We got up over the top and it was just too much. It just, you look down, there's the fjord and everything.
Just
but yeah,
sensory overload. Just
absolutely.
Like, kaboom.
And it was very hard, but mainly it was the sensory overload.
It gave you an excuse to cry those tears of hardship.
Absolutely. No free dopamine. Look, we want to tell you who we got on the podcast, but first we should talk about something really special, because there was a snowy old backyard ultramarathon in Aotearoa last weekend, and it was won by one Michelle Dean.
Yeah.
Holy moly. 29 laps, 194K. It's the third time that a woman has won a backyard ultra overall in Aotearoa. There was obviously the first person in the world to do it, Katie Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Katina Chavisa, I think that was River Run at the top of my head, and that was the assist was Fiona Hayvice.
Yeah, that's right.
And now Shelley Dean, who's just, have you met Shelley?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Full energy.
Full send the whole time. And you might go, those jacuzzi sharing backyard ultra nerds would be going like, 194K, that's not very far. But like, it was snowing and sleeting the whole time. And that is actually not the furthest that Shelley's run. She's gone over that at Riverhead Relapse. So it's amazing. And I was looking today, there's only a handful of other women who've ever won a backyard outright. Maggie Gutturl and Courtney DeWalter being among them. So it's a mighty achievement, and we celebrate you, Michelle, and here's to more women in the space, eh?
Yeah.
I was actually filled with hope about it because, I don't know, it's germane, right? Because we've got someone on today who's also quite good at backyard ultramarathons.
We actually spoke about women in backyard ultras too.
Well, look, let's break the fourth wall. Who's on the pod today?
It is the mighty Phil Gore.
Holy moly. I can't, and full disclosure, I haven't had a chance to listen to the snippet of the interview that Andrew and you did a couple of weeks ago, but I am so excited. Phil Gore, I mean, what a performance. World record, Dead Cow Gully, just amazing. What was it like?
Chatting with Phil?
Yeah.
I think he seems like a very lovely, easygoing, down-to-earth, relatable guy, but he's also got, like, understandably, that competitive side to him, and He really wants to perform as best he can. But he sounds like he's really willing and open to share and wants everybody to do well. And like my take, I mean, we saw it at the end of Dead Cow Gully, how fresh he looked. So my take is like, and from that chat, which I'm sure you'll all hear soon, is there's a lot more in him still to come.
Which is confronting, right? Because we've spent time around Sam Harvey and we know what an animal he is and how, he can go to the well, right? Like, and fair to say that Phil absolutely dominated that performance.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and can't wait to bring you that discussion that you and Andrew had with Phil Gore. But first, we should probably do this.
It's the greatest run ever. It's the greatest run ever.
Greatest Run Ever, brought to you by Squadron. Give their 4-week special coaching trial a go. You can find the link on the website, which is www.dirtchurchradio.com. This is the part of the show where we ask you to write into us and tell us your greatest run ever. And it doesn't have to be a race or a mountain summit. Might just be a run around the block, something that's sung to you for some reason. Send them in to us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And this is from Matt Jackson. And my goodness, this race is one of the most brutal and beautiful things that I have ever done. This is about the Skedaddle 2025, and he puts an event of sheer beauty and incredible suffering. I said at the time it was like being beaten to death in a Graham Sidney painting. It is just amazing. Matt writes, I've had writing a greatest run ever on my to-do list for about 2 years now, and I finally got around to putting some thoughts into words. This is not the run that I intended to write about, and I'm sure that when you read it and your listeners hear it, there may be a few raised eyebrows. I confess I was never really all in on this race. I'd heard the stories about how demanding and brutal it was, worst race ever, always followed up with, you should definitely do it. So as I was procrastinating and being egged on to enter, a friend had bagged a free entry they couldn't use, so it begun. I'd entered the 42K. What had I done? So my race day arrived. I woke up about a minute before my alarm, made coffee for the road, and left Otutahi in the middle of the night to where my fate awaited. There was something magical about the drive, crisp, clear, and the most amazing giant orange moon, perhaps a sign of what was to come. As I turned off the Hamner Highway, I was alone, not a car in sight. Then as I arrived at the gravel road, checking my mirror, there was a stream of headlights behind me. The start was low-key affair, a stark contrast to my previous race, the Tarawera 50K, right up to an actual shotgun pierces the anticipation to get the race underway. Now, if you've ever done a race where they fire a shotgun into the air, it is quite a thing. I can attest to that. We set off past the woolshed through the paddocks with amusing signs at strategic locations, but I barely muster a smile. I feel tired, my body is spent, my heart rate is sky high, and I don't acknowledge any of it. My subconscious mind is seriously doubting my life choices here already. I leave the paddocks and carry on through the brutal hills of the plantation forests and reach the native bush. It's a relief to experience a change of scenery. Then I realise that the trail needs much more focus than I can bring. I start stumbling over every tree root and rock. I curse my clumsiness. I want more than anything to pull out. My mind is so broken that I can't even think to walk, let alone run another 30k. But there's no alternative but to carry on. It's the only way out, so I dig really deep and put one foot in front of the other, literally focusing on one step at a time. I continue to stumble, fall, trip and curse, but eventually I emerge from the bush to a wonderful view and there is a glimmer of hope. Then a guy with the camera pops up and says, I'm going to photograph you walking and it's going to look awesome. And you can't help but smile inside the absurdity of it and the sheer optimism displayed. It gives you more hope and the photo did look pretty good. So I keep going. You make the aid station, meet some other people racing and realise that I'm not alone. Others are navigating the trail with their own thoughts, fears and hopes, and most of us find the strength to carry on and hit the finish line. Along the way, there are ups and downs, and there are so many, and they are incredibly hard. But you say, I've done this before, I can see the beautiful scenery, the amazing trees, the person ahead going through it as well to distract me, and eventually you can see the end. Not literally, because there is another hill. When I cross the line, there are other people I know cheering me on. I don't know them that well, but I want to. They're giving me energy and positivity because they are great people and they know exactly what it means to keep going and experiencing the feeling of making progress even in adversity. Entering this race took me to a physical and mental place that I didn't know existed and forced me to confront what is buried deep inside. We suffer in silence, don't even admit to ourselves how we are feeling, tell ourselves that we are fine, and just carry on and expect things will get better. I realize it really isn't about the running of the race. It runs much deeper. The finish line is really the beginning of a long journey to rediscovering myself, accepting my feelings and emotions and embracing them, finding the joy in small things, acts of kindness, the pea waka waka following me along a trail, the beautiful colour and warmth of the sun rising and settling against the mountains, casting a warm embrace over everything, nature's big hug. And he puts in a very nice postscript about Greatest Run Ever and how is one of his favourite parts of the podcast. And I have to say, it was Eugene Bingham's idea, and it's one of my favourite parts. Reading this out is incredible. And that's it from Matt. But please, 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 please send some greatest runs in. We are getting a bit low. And that race, Skedaddle Alley, it is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Like, I think it was harder than Blue Lake 100.
I think I remember you telling me about it afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, it does sound pretty juicy."
So challenging, and that part about the ups and downs.
Yeah,
it is unrelenting. My goodness me! But look, we shouldn't tally here. Let's get on with our conversation with the world record backyard ultramarathon holder, the mighty, the incredible Phil Gore.
We are coming to you from all the way, talking to Phil Gore from Darling Downs, Australia. Phil Gore, welcome to Dirt Church Radio.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me. I'll just specify as well, that's the Darling Downs in WA. A lot of the time when people hear Darling Downs in Australia, they're thinking of the one in Queensland. But yeah, I'm all the way over on the West Coast.
Nah, you wouldn't want to be mistaken for a Queenslander, Phil.
Yeah, they're not too bad over there.
Our current world champion, backyard ultra world record champion holder with 119 yards, 798.49 kilometres. How's that feel, Phil?
Yeah, like it's a little bit surreal. Like I mean, if you'd spoken to my younger self, back when I first started running and told me, one day you're going to be a world record holder and you're going to run these huge distances, I would have not believed you. I'd have been like, no way. Even just thinking of running anything further than a marathon. Like if you told me I was going to do a 100K run, I wouldn't have believed it. And then, it's just funny how things happen and how they evolve. And it slowly kind of builds up. And here I am as the world record holder. And so it is a really great feeling to be here. Like obviously I have been here before. I had it 2 years ago when I ran 102 at the same event. And but just the way that the backyard goes, I mean, the backyard world record, it's getting broken like twice a year. I've got it for now. But I'm sure it won't be long until there's an event somewhere else and it's beaten again. So I just kind of embrace it while I've got it. But I don't take it as a permanent thing or a given thing.
I just want to reiterate Ellie's congratulations. That's an amazing effort, mate.
Thank you.
I'm just going to deal with the elephant in the room early on here. How annoyed are you that Sam didn't do one more lap so you could have 120 and 800 Ks?
That's, like it's just the way the backyard goes. And I've always thought about, if I get to a point like that and, theoretically I could have still gone and run one more lap and make it a 120. It wouldn't be official.
We actually did that.
I kind of think that
in our very first one.
Yeah, I have heard about it happening at some events before, but I just think kind of respect for the format to just, that's how it is. That's just how it happens. But, at the same time, like I'm not left wondering, like, could I have done 120 hours? Like, I have no doubt in my mind I could have easily gone and done one more lap.
I don't think anyone
just
has any doubt about that.
No.
Yeah, so just because the event finished, then it doesn't leave me thinking, oh, could I have done 5 days? Whereas if I was like in Sam's case, for example, he's run to that 118 and he's given it everything he's got, like he's squeezed every last step out of him. Yeah, he's he might not be sure if he can get there or not, or I'm sure he probably will one day. But yeah, to be in that position, to have given it everything you got and not make it to that point, I think is a bit different to getting there, feeling really confident and, physically able to go and do another lap. There's no doubt that I could have done it.
On that, like it was pretty clear at the end of Dead Cow Gully that you just looked like fresh, like, which I want a better word, but actually like you didn't look like you were anywhere near done. And I'm curious, like, because you've got the world record, but, who can help you push that world record further? Is it Sam? Like, you two have been 1 and 2 for a couple of events now, but who do you think it is that's going to help you get further than what you got? Because you look capable of it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be Sam. I mean, he's definitely got the determination and grit to go really far. But I look at people like Lukasz from Poland who had the world record before me. So he ran 116. And when he stopped, it was the same situation because the assist had, hadn't been able to do a step over 115 hours. And by just looking at Lukasz and seeing how fresh he looked at the end, I was, following his lap times. He had very similar lap times to what I was running. And yeah, so I just think if he was at Dead Cow Gully in that exact same condition and both of us were running together, we would have been able to go well beyond 120, I think.
You might
so
still be there.
Yeah. So I'll get the chance to run with him at Big's backyard, and obviously, yeah, World Championships there's going to be other people there who haven't been pushed to their potential. So there's going to be a lot of people who won their national champs with a huge total, but they've had to stop because their assisters stopped. So they've still got a lot more in the tank. So it might be someone who's only run to 80 before and now they're running, when in the right race with the right people, they're able to push that up to, 100, 120. And it's just, that's just the way it is with the backyard. I think there's a lot of people out there who haven't been tested to their full potential.
I think we've got a bit of a dark horse in Simon McLean. He might be one of those guys, right? 90 yards, obviously wants to do more.
Yeah, and I had some really good chats with him at Dead Cow Gully, and I think there's some things that went wrong with his race. I think particularly with his feet, that if he can fix that or prevent that at Bigs, he's got a lot more potential to go a lot further. And you just look at the way his results have progressed. So his previous best was, sorry, I can't remember exactly, but I believe it was in the 60s.
60s, yeah, I think so, yeah.
I don't know what he'd done before that. But yeah, to go from the 60s to the 90s, like that's a huge leap. And then he's only has learnt more from Dead Cow Gully to be able to take it to the next level again. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how far he goes.
It's been great. He mentioned that he reached out to you after the race, just obviously with some advice about Bigs and that sort of carry on. You've been quite an open book, and that's sort of, I've heard that theme a few times now, that you're not trying to hide anything. You're quite happy to share your knowledge with anyone who asks and that sort of carry on.
Yeah, definitely, and that's exactly why I come on podcasts like this, and I feel like I do have a lot of knowledge to share, and I'm not one to hide anything. And like with the backyard, like I'm only going to be able to go really far if there's other people that can go really far. So the more people that I can help and the more I can get this knowledge out there, it's just going to help the sport grow. So there's absolutely no gatekeeping from me. Like, I'm happy to help other people. And, if I can give advice to someone who then goes and uses that and ends up being able to beat me in a backyard one day, then I think that's a really good thing. Because then I'm put in a race where I can really test what my limits are, which is, I think, what the backyard is all about.
Was it Bigs 2 years ago? If I remember correctly, you got to 90-something laps?
100, exactly.
It was
100.
100, sorry. It was 100.
Yeah.
And had to bow out then. Obviously, 2 years is a long time in this sport. I assume that whatever issue happened there is something that you've been working on for this one. Is it the course being different?
I think the course was a big factor. It's definitely the hardest. Oh, the night course was fine, but the day course, it was just in rough country, like a lot of single track, a lot of rocks and tree roots, and it wasn't super hilly, but there was enough elevation to make it a little bit more difficult.
Right.
So yeah, the course was a big factor. But I mean, the thing that kind of happened with me was I had a problem with a tendon in my lower leg, and that might have been brought out on because of the course. I think it definitely played a role, and that happened in like the early 70s. And yeah, I was able to keep pushing through, and kind of tried a few different things to slow the progression, but I could never really reverse it. And on lap 100, I actually tripped and fell.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first time I'd fallen for the whole event, but I'd seen it happen to a lot of other people. I'd heard it had been happening a lot. So actually to get to lap 100 without having a fall, I think was pretty good. And but yeah, I had a fall, and kind of in my fatigue state, I didn't even break my fall with like put my hands out in front of me or anything. It was just flat on my chest and on my chin.
Oh, yeah.
I started to get a headache. My chin was cut and bleeding. My teeth felt weird, so I didn't know if I'd knocked any teeth out or anything. And then, yeah, it just kind of made that leg issue that little bit more worse as well. And yeah, I was able to finish that lap. I finished with like, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes to spare. And my wife is like, no sympathy, just, you need to go and start this next lap. Here's your water bottle. Here's your food. Off you go. And yeah, so I ran the next lap. So I started 101. I got about halfway through, and I wasn't even at halfway, and my time was 37 minutes. So I'm doing the basic maths. I'm like, 37 minutes for not even halfway. Am I going to do more than half in, the remainder of the time that I've got left? And I'm like, it's not going to happen. And I just kind of got this dreaded feeling that I'm going to be stuck out on this course for a long time. So instead of finishing the lap, I kind of took a shortcut back to the finish, which I wasn't even sure was the right way to the finish, but there had been people coming out to that spot. So my thought was there's a car park nearby where people are driving to this spot to view. And it's like, if I can get to this car park, I might find some people. But yeah, I just kind of, I don't know, maybe out of instinct, just followed this track and ended up back at the camp. And so I didn't finish that last lap. And yeah, it was just a bit of a weird feeling, kind of, finishing at 100 yards, but the race is still going and there's still other people running. And it was just in the state that I was in as well. It was just a weird feeling.
Safe to say that essentially the problems that you faced were specific to that event rather than something that you try to unpack afterwards.
Yeah, well, no, I have actually been speaking with a sport doctor since then about that issue with my leg, because it has happened at other events, but just not to that extent, or maybe a lot later on in the event. So I've been able to hold on long enough to get the win, and then the next day it's kind of flared up a bit more. So I did actually, kind of started with speaking with my physio, and he's referred me to a sports doctor. So yeah, I've just tried some different things, and the last, since then, I've done 4 backyards since then, and I haven't had that issue come up again. I mean, they've all gone really well. I've won each of them feeling really strong at the end, and still feeling like I had a lot more left in the tank. And these have all been big results as well. So, I mean, oh, sorry, the first one I did was only 33 yards. So that I wouldn't say that was a
That's
big
better
result.
than I've ever done, just that I'd mention. Just,
Yeah. Is that was my lowest one ever. But anyway. But yeah, I did an 81 yard and a 96 yard, and obviously the 119. And each of those events at the end, I've just been feeling really good. And even, getting out and running the next day without any big issues, like a little bit sore and a little bit slow, but you were able to get out there and run.
Yeah, we're going to talk about going for runs after big efforts in a second. But but what about these ones that you're talking about that you've done? Has any of the terrain matched bigs, or have they been quite flat, open?
Yeah, so they've been relatively flat. So I think not that it's close to bigs, but I'd say out of those four, the one that was closest to bigs was Sydney, just because there was like a lot of up and down. It was on
So that massive
like
racecourse one.
St. Ives.
yeah, it's at St. Ives. So
Okay.
they've done very well to fit 6.7 Ks in the space that they've got, but it's like going, up and down a lot of the same sections, and kind of like you do like a big loop and then you zigzag back around, and it's just like there's not always a clearly defined path. You might just be running up the side of an embankment and you've got, the tufts of grass and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not a difficult course, but I mean, out of the four I've done recently, I'd say that was the most difficult one.
Yeah, and the problem being, like you say, that the problem happened 70 hours at least into the race. It's not something you can kind of mimic any other time. I mean, it's not like you're going to go for a 70-hour training run in the hills. It's hard to know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm definitely including a lot more trail in my training leading into bigs, and trying to find areas in my local trails which will be similar to the type of terrain I'm getting at bigs. So even though I'm not going to be going out and doing a 70-hour run, if I kind of do this sort of section just a little bit each week, it'll still give me that kind of time on feet along that sort of terrain. So I'm kind of hoping that will help a bit. And but yeah, I know what to expect with bigs now as well. Like last time when I went there, I'd never seen the course before except from little bits and pieces in documentaries, but it's completely different to actually being there.
Not quite as glamorous as it looks on TV.
Yeah. Well, I was actually expecting it to be a little bit worse from what I'd seen in the videos. So when I
Okay.
got there and after I'd done my first lap, I was like, this isn't actually too bad. But yeah, by the time you get to like the third and fourth day, you just like, all those little hills, they're getting steeper. There was a bit where you had to, like, it was a big step. You had to step up onto this rock. And, the first day or two, it's like, it's easy. It's just one step up. And as you get towards, day 3 and 4, it's like you got to use your hands to like push yourself up the rock, and coming down the other way. You can't just jump down because, all your muscles in your legs hurt. So if you jump, it just sends that right up like all that pain up your body. So you have to carefully step down. And sometimes I've even just like sitting on the edge of the rock and then putting my feet down
Wow.
to get through. So it did definitely seem to get more difficult as the time went on.
I think a lot of people can relate to that on a smaller scale, how,
Yeah.
a little hill becomes a really big hill after a little bit of time
Yeah.
when you're tired.
Yeah, definitely.
You didn't look like you were actually in any pain at Dead Cow Gully the way you sprinted in at the end. Was that a little bit of show, or were you genuinely just feeling good? Like, what was the deal?
Yeah, I was. Like, I think by the by the fourth and fifth night, I was actually feeling really good, and I was just really getting in the zone. And the nights has typically been the hardest period for me. But the last few events I've done, I've actually been really enjoying the night laps, and I've got like a very specific routine at night. I just get locked into that, and because I've kind of got, I want to get in quick to get my sleep, and like just feeling like I've got a bit more purpose to get back quicker. I kind of run my night laps quicker. But yeah, the fourth and fifth night, I was just feeling like just really locked in, like kind of in that flow state, like everything was just, going according to the plan. I was feeling really good. There were points where even saying to my crew, I'm like, is it meant to feel this effortless? Like, I reckon it felt easier on the fourth and fifth night than it did on the first and second night. I think a little bit of that as well is because you've been awake for so long and you kind of lose your concept of time a little bit. So laps can kind of blur together. It doesn't seem to drag out as much as it does in the beginning. But yeah, on that last lap, I kind of had a good feeling, a good idea that it was going to be my last lap. Like when I started, I had to stop a little bit ahead to go to the toilet. And then as I was looking back, I saw, Sam looked like he was stumbling and falling over. And I'm only just judging this based on his headlamp glow. But his headlamp didn't seem to be coming any closer. And then when I started running, he hadn't caught up to, where he normally would by that point. So I was like, kind of from there, I'm like, this might be my last lap. And even if Sam was going to keep moving and finish that lap, I was like, whether he finishes it in time or not is another matter. I got to 2Ks and I looked back. I couldn't see any headlamp glow at all. So as you got to the 2Ks, you kind of turned a corner. So you had a good view back down the track. Didn't see any headlamp. So I was like, well, he's probably turned back. He's probably not running. But then there's always like, well, maybe he's just stopped to go to the toilet and his headlamp's pointing the other way or something like that. So I wasn't taking it as a given, but it wasn't until I kind of passed the turnaround point, came back. I didn't see him at the normal spot where I'd see him, kept running. I got with like 2Ks to go and I still hadn't seen him. And I'm like, even if I do see him now, he's not going to finish the lap in time. And that last 2Ks, I just, it was all like a gradual downhill. So it was very conducive to fast running. And I just, kind of sprinted it in. I was running under like 4-minute Ks and just kind of letting gravity take me. And it was just kind of the adrenaline of knowing that I had the win. The there's an element of relief as well. Like as much as I would have liked to keep going to 120 and beyond, there's still an element of relief. Like this is finally over. Like I can give it everything I've got because I don't need to do another lap. And also just elation and like joy in knowing that once I finish this lap, I'm going to leave here as a world record holder. It was all like a pretty cool moment. And so, I had the energy in my legs to run that far. Like I was, if the race was still going, like I felt I still could have gone, at least another day or so. So there was definitely the energy in the legs and I'm like, let's just use it all up now. And, it was just, I thought a good way for me to finish.
Well, I hope your competitors are listening to this. Could have gone a few more days. I'm starting to actually, get into my zone 5 days into the race. Like that's good stuff. I wouldn't want to be racing against you.
Yeah, well, every race is different. And I mean, at that point, like I felt like I probably could have gone another day. But the thing with the backyard is anything can happen. Like,
of course,
as what happened at Big's backyard, and I had a fall. I mean, even though I was getting pretty close to the end there anyway, but just having that fall, that was a thing that kind of, brought everything to a halt. But like something could have happened. Like I could have had an injury or whatever. I could have gone to sleep and my crew could have forgot to wake me in time or something. Like there's all these different things that can happen. So you never know. But just how I felt at that point in time, I was feeling pretty confident I could still go for a while. Yeah.
And I mean, speaking of confidence, it seems to be something that comes in this space. Like you seem like you're quite a competitive guy. And like how much attention are you paying to what everyone else is saying or doing? Like there's a lot of bluster on social media, lots of people putting stuff out there. Like do you take that into account, like coming into a race like Big? So you going like, oh, they're saying this and they're saying that, or I want to look at what their training's like, or do you actually just do your own thing? Like what's going on in your head?
Yeah, I try not to get caught up with what anyone else is doing. Like in the lead up, I'm not like, I follow people on Strava and Instagram and stuff, so I get little bits of insights of what other people are doing, but I never kind of really read much into it. Um, yeah, it's not like I'm going there stalking and looking at what they're doing every single day on Strava and analysing their paces and their elevation and how many Ks they're doing each week. Like I might just see one of their runs pop up on Strava and, give them some kudos or something like that. But I really just go in focusing on my plan. Like I've got a system which I know works really well for me, and I know if I follow that system, then I'm going to be able to go really far. And this is a system that I've tweaked over the last kind of 4 years or 5 years now that I've been doing this. And there's little bits of improvements each time, and I've got a lot of confidence in the system. So when I come into an event that's going to be big like Dead Cow Gully, I don't get concerned about what anyone else is doing or talking about or how they're looking on course. I just put trust in my system, and I know that as long as I keep following that system the same way I always do, then I'm going to be able to go as far as I can go.
Just while you're on your system, I understand you've got a traffic light coloured wristband system. Is that right?
Yes. Well, that was a new thing that I trialed at Dead Cow Gully, and it worked really well. So typically I have 3 different pace groups. So during the day, my laps are generally slower, but I'll have a couple of sort of average paced laps if I've got a bit more to do during the day, like eating or something. And then at night, my laps are typically faster. And then again, a few average pace laps in there if I'm not having a sleep, if I'm just going to be eating or something instead. So typically my crew will tell me, like, it's all written down on my plan, whether I'm running a recovery lap, an average lap, or a fast lap. And my crew, before I go out on the lap, will tell me, okay, you're running a fast lap, or you're running an average lap, or you're running a recovery lap. And then, so I'll go out
they're
there.
telling you. So this is them.
So they're
okay.
reading off the plan.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I've got it written down on the plan.
Cool.
They'll read it off the plan and they'll tell me. And then, but sometimes if they forget to tell me, or I forget to ask, I'll be running that lap and like, oh, hang on, what am I meant to be running here? Or they might tell me, and then I get halfway through the lap and I'll be like, hang on, was I on a recovery pace or an average pace? And I can't remember. So it just kind of came to me like at Sydney, it's like, I need a system for this. And I was like, what about if I had coloured bands? So I went on Temu and I bought a bag of these different coloured bands for like, $3 or something, and used it at Dead Cow Gully, and the system just worked. It works perfect. So I'd come in from one lap, take my band off me and put the next colour on of what I was meant to be running. And then that was it. We didn't have to remember to tell me as I went out on the next lap what pace I was going to be running or any of that. And it worked perfect. And I think there was a couple of times where I had gloves on and I took my glove off and the band came off. But then I was able to pick it up again, and I did have spares back at
if you got them from Temu,
well.
you probably had 200 of them.
Yeah, well, I did. I had so many, but I actually only took down 2 of each colour with me. But now I realise I probably should have took more because I did have more. But I mean, that was enough. And like if I dropped it on one lap, I was able to pick it up on the next lap. Or there was, I think one time someone picked it up for me and they knew about it because I'd been talking to them about it. So they passed it back to my crew, and so I still finished the event with the right amount of bands.
What sort of variants are we talking about here? What's fast, medium, slow at Dead Cow Gully for you?
So a fast lap was around 39 to 41 minutes. An average lap was around 43 to 46 minutes. And a recovery lap was around 49 to 52 minutes.
So quite a big range, isn't it? I mean, sort of 12 or 13 minutes across. And I don't know how many people, I mean, maybe they do, and I just haven't done one in a while, but certainly from my experience, it was because you've got a whole hour. For the most part, it was like, no, don't rush any of them, 52 minutes, 53 minutes for every single lap. You've obviously got a completely different idea to that, and it clearly works as the world record holder. Have you got any thoughts on how much that helps varying the pace? Is it more to keep it interesting, or is it actually really helping your body?
Well, I think it helps a few different ways. So the main reason I do it is because at night I want to focus on sleep, and to get more sleep in, I need to run faster.
Okay.
So there's kind of a point where, yes, I could probably run a 30-minute lap and get, a lot more sleep, but I'm going to burn myself out too much by running a 30-minute lap every time. So I kind of find that, kind of that 39 to 41 minutes is that sweet spot where it's quick, but I can still maintain that over the course of a night. And then it still gives me, about 10 to 15 minutes of sleep, because I'm still taking into account that I want to get up 3 minutes before the start of the bell or before the start of the lap. I might have to have something quick to eat. I've also got to, like remove shoes and jackets and stuff like that. So there's stuff that takes time. So if I get like 20 minutes in the break, that equates to probably 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's decent.
And then, during the day, obviously there's not as much to do during the break. Or like there's, I can multitask. I can be eating while my feet are getting cleaned, and or, if I need to change T-shirts or whatever, I can do that all sitting down in the chair and still talking to my crew. So I don't need to do those laps as fast. If I'm having a break where I'm eating like a bigger meal, like it might be a burrito or something that takes a bit more time to eat, and I also want to give it a bit of time to digest before I start the lap, then that's when I do my average lap. So that's when I'm running just to give me that, a couple more extra minutes to eat that. So yeah, that's kind of why I do it. So depending on what I have to do during the break, will dictate a different time that I want to run. The other thing I think it helps with is it encourages, like, you're going to be using different muscles. So, there's,
True.
I've got my walking pace, I've got my shuffle pace, I've got my quicker running pace, and just kind of varying it between those different things. It just means you're not just getting locked into a constant rhythm. And I kind of do this when I do my like my 24-hour running and stuff as well. Like, that's just fast running the whole time, but I can't do that continuously. So I'll make sure I put little walking breaks in there, and I'll have little breaks where I'm doing knee raises or butt kicks. And this is just to, stretch those muscles out and use them in different ways, because I find if you just get locked into that same pace all day, every day, you're just going to wear yourself out quicker.
Oh, it's really interesting.
Yeah. The other thing is, well, like, especially in the early days when you're running different paces, it gives you different people to talk with, and it keeps it more interesting, because a lot of people just run a very similar pace the whole time.
See the same people.
But when you run at different paces, you get to chat with different people. So it's just it does keep it a bit more interesting as well.
And how many laps did you have planned out? You say you've got this whole system planned out for your crew.
Yeah.
At some point, is it just a repeating cycle of 30, 30, 30, or are you literally riding out 150 laps?
So it's a repeating cycle of, like, say 24 hours, except my nutrition is more based over 48 hours.
Okay.
And then there's stuff like my caffeine plan that doesn't start until the third night. So, but as a general rule, it's like probably every 24 hours. So every day at 8 a.m, I'm going to be running the same pace. Every day at 9 a.m, that's my shower lap. My foot bath laps, they're all at the same sort of interval each day. My plan did go up to 192 hours, which was Sunday morning. And that's because I had a flight Sunday afternoon.
What a flex.
It's it's not just like written down on paper. Like, I actually had the food with me to last that long. So if I didn't expect the event to go that far, but if it did, I was going to be ready for it.
Not the shoes, but the food.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did have to, like, get another pair of shoes. I think I had 2 pairs of shoes, and because coming over from WA, like, I had limited luggage space, and I figured 2 pairs of shoes would be enough. But just because I was using road shoes on a trail course, they were just getting, like, quite dirty, and they were still fine to run with, but I was just like, it'll be really nice if I had a fresh pair of shoes. Like, it'd be like having a shower, like having a shower during an event. It just, like, reinvigorates you. It's like, I just wanted to have a new pair of shoes. And so I was just like, if there happens to be anyone coming from Brisbane to watch, the end of the event, do you mind stopping and picking me up some shoes? And Holly, Holly who ran the Australian female record, she was able to pick up the shoes and bring him down to me. And so that was so nice of her, because I found out afterwards that she wasn't even planning on coming back. She just
Oh.
made this special trip just for me. So I feel a little bit
What a
bad that she made
legend.
this trip just for me, but at the same time, yeah, it was so nice of her to do that. And
Shout out to
yeah,
Holly. That's awesome.
yeah, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think with bigs, I will probably try and take a few more pairs of shoes over.
If you can, mate,
Good
buy them
idea.
over there. Buy them over there. They're way cheaper.
I get them for free here. So
Oh, okay. Never mind.
yeah.
I was going to suggest earlier you could be the first Temu sponsored athlete.
No.
No.
No, not picking up Temu
Yeah,
sponsorship.
I don't know what their profit margins would actually be like to actually have enough to.
They couldn't afford you,
sponsor
mate.
athletes. Yeah,
On a more serious note, though, I'm actually quite curious. Like you're talking about having your pacing strategy and having these different loading kind of across the event, the way that you're loading your body with the shuffle and the walking and the faster running laps. What does your training look like for these backyards? Like, are you high volume? Do you prioritize strength work? Like, what are your priorities, and do you factor those kind of different pacing things in with it?
yeah. So I think like my biggest focus is probably just volume. So I like to build up to a peak week of say 180 k's, and my longest run will be. So my longest run in the lead up to Dead Cow Gully was 100 k's as a training run. So I do like to factor in some of those big runs and just having a lot of time on feet. Most of my running is done in like zone 2, so it's quite a conservative pace. I do 1 or 2 speed sessions a week, so normally one on like flat ground intervals, and then I'll do one on hills as well. And yeah, I do try to get that mix of road running and trail running, and just to have that variety. As I said, going into bigs, there'll be a bit more trail and trying to find that specific sort of trail that matches the bigs terrain. Um, but yeah, and like I think consistency is my biggest thing. Like I get out there and I run every single day. Like I don't miss a day. Whatever I write on my plan, I make sure I go and get that done. It has changed occasionally, like if I've been called into work or I've had to hold back at work, I might have to adjust it. But then I'm still looking at my overall Ks for the week and trying to make sure that kind of balances out. I still do a lot of I do strength training as well. So I wouldn't say strength training is my priority. I could probably do a bit more of it. I would like to say I get into the gym 3 times a week, but more likely it's 2 times a week. So if something happens, like I need more time at home, or I'm picking up extra shifts at work or something like that, the gym is the first thing to go. But I make sure I'm always getting my running in. I also I'm getting in the sauna maybe 5 times a week. And
wow.
that kind of, I think that helps with the mental training, like just kind of sitting somewhere, not being stimulated by a phone or anything like that. I think that's the hardest bit I find, is just the boredom. But also just to help with that heat tolerance and adaptation. And there's a lot of extra health benefits to being in the sauna in terms of like blood circulation and stuff like that.
It's a good test of addiction.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing the sauna at my gym, and it said, you can't take your phone in or anything like that. And I thought, well, I'm not going in then. I realized, maybe I have a problem.
I think it's not like it doesn't need to be the phone, but it's just not a very stimulating environment. And when you combine that with the heat as well, it's like you just want to get out of there. I mean, there's been times where I've been in there, thinking I'm only going to go in there for like 20 minutes, but then at like, 15 minutes, 17 minutes, someone comes in and strikes up a conversation and can just talk. And then I end up being in there half an hour. And that, the second half of it was so much easier than the first half, just because my mind was kept busy. And yeah, on the other side of that, I also do stuff like cold showers. So it doesn't matter what the temperature's like outside, if it's, freezing cold, boiling hot, whatever. Each day go in and just have a cold shower. So I like to kind of train for that cold tolerance, but then also it's like doing those things that you don't want to do. So you're like hardening the mind. So yeah, you stand in front of the shower and the cold water's coming out. You're like, I really don't want to step under that. But you know what? There's going to be times in the backyard where I really don't want to go to that start line. So just suck it up and do it. So I think it's just these little things, and it's just a little thing, but you're doing it every day, rather than it doesn't necessarily have to be like a huge change to your routine, but just that little change, like I'm just going to have a cold shower each day. You add on the cumulative effects of that over the period that you're training, and it does add up, and it does help, I think.
With like, you're obviously not a full-time pro athlete, you're a firefighter.
Yeah.
Does some of that come into, benefiting you with these backyards, like with your running and that mental side of it, or the sleep side of it?
Yeah, so I think there's definitely things about being a firefighter that helps me with my ultra running, but it also goes the other way. Um, so being like what I've learned from ultra running has definitely helped me with my job. Now my job is very, it's kind of like the ideal job for an ultra runner, I think, because we get a bit of time off. So we do 2 days, 2 nights, and then 4 days off. So the roster's great.
Oh, yeah.
Where my work is, it's 5Ks from home. So I run to and from work every day. So it's just a way to fit in those extra Ks without feeling like it's cutting into your day. Like that's just my normal commute. So uh, normally I'll typically run a bit further in the morning. So whether I'm coming off of a night shift or I'm starting a day shift, that first run of the day will typically be longer. So, I've run up to a marathon before coming into work before. That was a once off, but I'd say normally it's kind of between that 15 to 25K mark. So I'll run that on my way into work or on my way home from work in the morning. And then in the afternoon, it's just the short 5Ks. And with that 5Ks, that's not on my plan. So on my plan, if it says I've got to do 20Ks, I'll do that as the first run of the day. That second run, that's just a bonus, because sometimes I might have to hold back at work and I'll work a full 24 hours and I won't do my run until the next day. So that I just kind of feel it's just that extra bit of training as well. It's those bonus miles, like they're not actually planned in, but yeah, just doing those kind of double run days, I think helps a lot.
We had a coach back in the day, Arthur Lydiard, and all his athletes during the winter would have to do a 12 weeks. I'll get corrected on this, but this is roughly the story. 12 weeks of 100 miles every week. That was their training. They had to do all of that. But none of that included getting to and from the training. So all of them would run to Owaraka, where they would do their runs from, and as far as Lydia was concerned, none of that counted. So I'm hearing similarities there, and they all got gold medals at the Olympics. So it's definitely good to have all those extras. It all adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah. A lot of the times as well, for that second run of the day, I might do it as a walk, as a fast walk, and this is something that I've incorporated since Bigs as well, since I had that issue with the leg. Apparently doing a bit more walking training is going to, stop that leg issue happening again. So that's been incorporated into my routine. So all of my plan, like all the runs that are on my plan, they're runs, and then those bonus ones are quite often, I'll do like a fast walk, or it might be a run walk pattern. But yeah, that definitely helps as well.
Just while we're on the firefighter subject, I mean, I've had the pleasure's not the right word, of being within a kilometre of a raging wildfire in Western Australia. It is a terrifying thing. How often does that come up for you over there?
So in summer, that's our busy time. Obviously, like we get a lot of bushfires.
I mean, they're huge.
Most of the jobs we go to, they're not those big raging bushfires, but we might get like one or two, what we call a campaign fire each year. And yeah, they can be huge, and they're such a big scale. But in terms of my role doesn't change. Like, well, it does a bit, but effectively, like I'll go there and I'll just work on a sector. So I'm not, I don't have to, we've got like lots of teams around the place. We're getting in, extra crews there to help fight the fire. So even though it's a huge fire, we've got more people there. Whereas the ones that can be more intense are like the bigger ones in your own area when you're first arriving, and then you've got to wait for the backup and stuff like that. So it's a bit more full on there.
Yeah.
But when I go to these big campaign fires, if I go to one, it's like I'm normally getting there, after it's, after the initial knockdown, and, it's just a big, like the long duration events, but a lot of it's just like mopping up and blacking out. And,
Yep.
in terms of what I do, it's like I just focus on a particular sector. Like I just go where I'm told and put the water down.
Is your gym at the station? Does the station have a gym?
Yes, so we do have a gym on station, but my gym work I do outside of work, and that's just
okay.
because I like to do the body pump classes. So I'm not very.
They don't do
as,
body pump at the fire station.
well, because we don't have an instructor there. Like as structured as I am with my running and how specific I am with my running, when it comes to strength training, I'm just not motivated enough to kind of do my own thing in the gym. So I find going to the pump class is a lot better because number one, it's like there's a specific time you got to be there. And so it's just easier to commit to instead of thinking, oh, I'll just go sometime today. It's like I've got to be there at 10 o'clock or whatever. And then you're in a class with a lot of other people. You've got an instructor there telling you exactly what you want to do. You're kind of a bit more committed because you're in this group environment and you don't, you feel like you have to do each rep because everyone's watching you, but they're not watching you. But it's just you kind of think that they are. But yeah, no one cares if you sit out a rep or whatever. But
I think
just being in that, yeah.
I was just thinking a lot of ultra runners are probably nodding their heads with the whole idea that, and probably it's nice to hear from elite runners such as yourself that strength training, it's no picnic, and there's not too many ultra runners that having to go do strength training really gets them out of bed. You know what I mean? It's kind of something we know we have to do or should be doing as to carry on, but there's very few that are really excited by it. So I don't know, for me it's refreshing.
I think some people love it, but for me it's just something that has to be done to help with my running and to help with my job. So
yeah, true.
I don't know. I just find it absolutely delightful that you do pump, Phil. There's something about it.
I'm just trying to imagine it, eh?
I know.
It's kind of cool.
It's very cool.
And the thing with pump is as well, it's like it's a full body workout and it's squeezed into 45 minutes. Whereas if I go and try to do my own thing, I might spend an hour and a half in the gym, and I might have only done a few different exercises because you just spend, get distracted on your phone or whatever it is, or I don't know. I'm just, as I said, I'm not very motivated to get into the gym and do my own thing, or even to write up my own plan to go in the gym. So I just find the body pump just takes the thinking out of it. I just rock up at a certain time, go and do my 45 minutes and, just do that 3 times a week. And I'm set.
Getting back to the good old backyard format, the question I asked Sam, and I'll ask you as well, and it's a difficult one to answer because it's not super clear cut, but is it going for too long? Because you talk about how you're actually starting to feel quite good 4 days, 5 days into it. Is it almost like you've figured out the puzzle? You've figured out how to actually just keep going at this thing? Whereas, I mean, do you think that was Laz's intention? I mean, when this all sort of kicked off, do you think he was thinking, oh, they might get to 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, we'll all go home and it'll all be fun? And then you guys come along and you go, hang on a minute, this is a puzzle, I'm going to figure this out. And it sounds like you just about have. Does he have a problem? Or does the race format have a problem?
Yeah, well, I think when Laz started it, I don't think he ever thought it would go past 3 days. I think there was an interview with him. I think he said something about, 3 days.
Right.
So, but I mean, people just keep pushing these limits and seeing what other people can do. Like a lot of the reason why I've kind of knew that I could do these distances is because I've seen other people do it. So like when Lukash broke the record with 116, I didn't suddenly think, oh, now the record's even more out of reach. I was like, well, if he can do it and he's running those sort of paces similar to what I run, then there's no reason why I can't do it. So then that just puts in my head that it's not like it's not like a number that's going to be really hard to reach. Whereas like, say for example, with the marathon, like the marathon time, over the past 100 years, whatever, has just been getting quicker and quicker. And every time that the marathon, not that I'm ever going to get a marathon world record, but every time
Never say never, mate.
it gets improved, I'm just like, well, it's just even further out of my reach now. But the backyards are opposite. It's like I see someone else do it. It's like, well, I can do that now. And I was at the point like, where I run 119 and I was still feeling really good. And I'm kind of thinking, how much further could I go? And I'm like, if Sam didn't stop, like, what if Sam was feeling the same as me? Like, is this just going to go on indefinitely? Like, what happens? Do I need to change my flights? Like, but I think scientifically, like, there has to be, if you look at it scientifically, there has to be a theoretical point where you can't keep replacing the calories that you're using. Like, there has to be a limit there somewhere, right? Like, it's not going to go on forever. We're not going to be running these things for like 1 month or 2 months. Because the amount of calories you eat is not replacing.
I'm going to make a note of that. I mean, maybe. I remember, I think Camille, I said this on a previous podcast. I think it was Camille that said one day they're going to be running 100 laps, 100 hours. And I thought to myself, oh, that's ridiculous. And I think the record was about 60 at the time.
Yeah.
And it just, percentage-wise, it was so much more.
Yeah.
And yet here we are at 119, and we're about to have another massive event with the best runners in the world all there, although not Sam. Maybe Sam. He's just pulled out of UTMB, so I don't know how he'll be by then. But
maybe he's pulled out of that to save his legs for Bigs.
Achilles, how he was having Achilles troubles at Bigs. So at Dead Cow. I think that is. That's the reason he's pulled out of UTMB. So I think we all know Achilles do not heal very fast. So we'll see. He's a stubborn bugger, as we all know. So, maybe he'll be there. But I don't think you'll have so many other top dudes and ladies. How many ladies are going? Do we know?
I think there's only 2 or 3
that
have qualified.
That's something that needs to be looked at. I don't know how. I don't know what the solution there is, but...
I think, I don't know what the solution is either, but I do think there needs to be more representation of women when it comes to the world champs.
Yeah. Got any ideas, Ali?
I always think 2 separate races. I'm not a last person standing. I think it's 2 separate races because there's different, like it's clear when you look at the world leaderboard. I think Courtney Dowwater's she was down either in the 20s or the 40s. It was way down. So there's quite a marked difference between where the men are performing and where the women are performing.
There was a brief period of time about 5 years ago when it looked to be that actually this race is equal, because pace has been removed from the race. It was looking just momentarily. Maggie Gutterall, she was posting big numbers, and we sort of started to think that finally we've found ourselves an ultra marathon where men and women are on the same playing field, but that was short-lived, unfortunately, and the disparity is the same sort of disparity that you get in most ultra marathons. So, don't know.
Yeah. I think it's time for us to do our quick fire round, which I'm sure Phil will be great at quick fire, being a firefighter.
Oh, that's terrible, Ellie. That is the worst. Oh, no.
So I'm going to kick us off. What's your favourite race fuel?
Cocoa Pops with chocolate milk.
Chocolate on chocolate. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just extra calories.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's quick and easy.
Yeah, and tastes good.
I think we already know. This next one here says toughest lap, first, middle, or last, but I think we roughly know.
I would, not the first lap, but I would say in the in the first 24 hours, I reckon that's harder. Yeah.
Yeah, I always feel like the first 6 hours of a backyard takes forever. You're like, I've been going all day and it's only 6 laps in,
Yeah.
Hallucinations, funniest or weirdest thing you've seen out there?
I don't really get hallucinations. So
that's a shame.
I get a bit confused at times, like at Bigs when I was starting to struggle towards the end of Bigs. I was just like, what am I doing? Like, so I have to run out to the halfway with this tracker and then turn around and just come back. Like, what's the point? And I just, and my wife is just like, because this is what you like to do. Okay.
What is the meaning of this? The next question here says favorite run. does that mean like favourite race or favourite run too? Sorry, Ali wrote these questions. Shall I just ask them and not try and unpack them? Favourite run, Phil?
Yeah.
I think I would have to say Hurdy's. I've got a soft spot for Hurdy's. Hurdy's front yard in WA.
Oh, wow.
So that was the second ever backyard I did, but that was the first one that I won. I got the Australian record. I just had a great time running with Kevin Matthews, who was his assist. We just kind of bonded over that race, and that's kind of, for me, even though that was like my third ultra or something, for me, that was where I felt like, okay, I'm a proper ultra runner now. And that's, kind of just continued to grow from there.
All right, this is a tricky one. Which Harvey? Harvey Lewis or Sam Harvey?
In regards to what?
Yeah.
I mean, if I want to run really far, I mean, Sam Harvey. So he's like, I've got a lot of respect for him, and I've he's helped me get to the world record twice now. And so, without him, I wouldn't have got that world record. Harvey Lewis is probably a lot more fun to run with. I've had some great chats with him, both in the race and outside of racing, and just seeing what he does, like following him on Instagram, like he's traveling the world, he's doing all this cool stuff. He's
He
just
never
a really great
stops.
person.
It's unbelievable.
He's always got something happening.
Do you have a mantra that you repeat to yourself, to help you through maybe the tough laps and things like that?
So I've got a couple. So keep moving forward, and that's kind of what's written on my Team Gore tops, and it's I think it applies to running, but just life as well. Like, just keep moving forward. And the other one I like is I don't know if you are a fan of Marvel or Captain America,
Sure.
but when Captain America says, when he's getting beaten up and he's looks like he's outmatched, and he's just like, I can do this all day. It's that's kind of what I say to myself as well. Yeah. So just when you're feeling a bit rough and like you're beaten up, it's just like, no, I can do this all day.
Dead Cow Gully in one word.
One word. I don't think I can put it down to one word.
Okay, one sentence.
Yes.
Win the fucker.
One the fucker.
Won the fucker.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. Post-race guilty pleasure?
Probably a nice alcoholic ginger beer.
What's harder to manage, your body or your mind?
Depends on what point in the race. But I would say typically, probably the mind, I think, is harder. Because, when things start going wrong with your body, I think it's still your mind that you got to manage. So, I mean, you're going to get pain, like that's inevitable. But it's how your mind deals with that pain. So I think ultimately it's always going to come down to mind.
Yeah, I agree. In a race, sometimes once the mind gives up, the body suddenly starts complaining, and you realise how much power the mind has over the body.
Yeah, you start finding more excuses. Like, no, it's not just my leg. It's also this. It's also this.
Yep.
So, I think as long as you're always going to get pain and you're always going to have like little niggles and stuff happen, like that's inevitable. But, letting it stop your race, that's the choice.
Ooh, that's a nice line. Have you got a race that you'd like to do that's not backyard? And obviously, I'm aware you've had to make a really tough decision between the 24 Worlds and backyard, both on the same weekend. That's always frustrating.
Yeah, it wasn't very good planning, but I mean the backyard ultra, I think it is an ultra marathon, but it kind of sits outside the IAU, like it's just kind of all run by Laz. So there's not really communication between the two parties about, we'll pick this weekend, you can have that weekend.
Yeah.
So I was a bit bummed that that's kind of how it happened. But it's funny, there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of crossover. Like, I think there might only be one other runner who had to make the choice between doing the 24-hour or doing bigs.
Oh, that's interesting.
Where I thought there'd be a bit more crossover. But yeah, in terms of a race that I would like to do, I think I really want to have a go at a 6-day at some point, or even like a 48-hour. So, I mean, it'll be similar to a backyard, I think, like a similar amount of time, but very different strategy. But then I also wonder, could I just use the backyard strategy in a 6-day, or maybe something similar?
If a backyard went to 6 days, how far would it go?
600 miles,
So
which
about
is
1,000 Ks-ish.
yeah, which is just a little bit below. I think it'll be just under 1,000. I think the world record for the 6-day isn't much higher than that.
Is that Kouros? Probably is Kouros.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Kouros. But so if you did like a backyard, but did, I don't know, I'm just guessing here, but say you did 7.5 Ks instead of 6.7, maybe that's enough to get the 6-day record. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I'm quickly trying to Google it. Oh no, that's right. It just got beaten, didn't it?
Oh yes. Was it Matthew?
Yes, Matthew Bond.
Yep. Yeah.
Where is the number? 1,046 kilometers, 650 miles. So it's an extra 50 miles.
Yeah. An extra 50 miles over. Right. Yeah, so that's just
less than 10 miles a day.
10 miles a day. So what's that? An hour? I don't know. Can't do the maths.
It's not that far. You're not that far from it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Watch the space for that one. We've got one in. I think we're having our first one ever in Christchurch.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but
I feel like it's October.
A 6-day in Hagley Park, October.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably the same weekend, mate.
Yeah.
I was invited to that one, but I'm like, it's too close to Biggs.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot of, it's not like it's a common race. There's not too many around the world, but it's just I've got to try and find time in my schedule to fit it in, because obviously there's a limit to how many of these huge races you can do each year, right?
They take so long.
So yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of maxed out at, I think 3 backyards in a year is probably the limit. I could probably do another one, but then I also, I still like to do the 24-hour runs.
You have about
I like to do
270 kilometre PB? Is that
270.
Right?
Yeah.
Man.
It's impressive.
Yeah, so I mean, you'd be right up there. So it's a tough decision to have to, go between those two. That is frustrating. There'll be more. Maybe Japan next year for the Oceania one?
Yeah, I was looking at that one, and that's kind of just before my birthday as well. So, because I was looking at potentially going for the age group record, and so this year is the last year I can do it, and then after June next year, I'll be in the new age bracket, which is it's another 20 Ks I'd have to do to get that age record, which is a lot in a 24-hour.
So the older record is further.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Huh. Okay.
we better ask our question that we ask every guest that we have on Dirt Church Radio, Phil, and it is, what is your greatest run ever?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Dead Cow Gully. I know 119 hours. Yeah, I don't think I can beat that. Well, I could beat it, but in terms of the races I've already done.
I think everyone thinks you can beat it. I think that's the problem.
We know you can beat it.
Yeah. I have to go with Dead Cow Gully.
That's fair.
Awesome, man.
Can imagine a lot of emotions and success and all the feelings that would have come out of that would be pretty special.
Yeah.
And also congratulations on your park run a few days later.
Oh, yeah, cheers. That wasn't planned. I got caught up in the crowd, and I was sitting in like 10th place at the start, and then I was just like, I saw the person in front of me and like, I reckon I could catch up to him, and just kind of kept picking people off, and
I think you might be competitive, Phil. I think so.
Yeah, a little bit. Like if I had just done a normal 5K run away from park run, I reckon I would have struggled at like 6 minutes per K or something. Like the run that I did the day before. So it was like I finished the race on the Thursday. I went for a run on Friday, which was like 6 minutes 30 per K. And I just kind of just going through the motions to get that done. And then, the park run on the Friday, and I just, kind of surprised myself. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like it hurt and my legs were sore the whole time, but that competitive side of me just kind of took over.
It's good to see, mate. Well, congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Fantastic effort. Congrats on the world record, and I hope we get to see that number go up soon.
Yeah.
We'll be cheering for you. Well, thanks for coming on, Phil. It's been amazing
you for
chatting
having me.
with you. And we're going to be, watching what happens at Bigs and cheering you on loudly.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Do you ever get the sense when you're talking to these people, like, you just wonder how people can go that deep?
Do you know, I don't think he's gone as deep as he can go yet. That's the thing. Like, that's what, like, I do. But for him, I don't feel like he's got there yet.
Because that can't just be genetics. That can't just be aerobic efficiency. That can't just be a dialed nutrition plan. Like, you could put all those things in the mix and still have a middling performance at a backyard ultramarathon. Like, there has to be something, just that indefinable sense of something otherworldly, I guess, hey?
I don't know. He's a god.
Well, no, I'm not saying he's a god, but I'm saying that it's just that secret spice, right? Like,
definitely.
You could put A plus B. You could put great nutrition plus nice tent plus good crew plus aerobic efficiency equals world record. And for so many people, it just doesn't work out that way. So,
no.
My goodness. I am actually excited to see how Bigs goes, because I think if all those people are there and they're all keyed up and it's in Laz's backyard, and I've been at an event where Laz has been in person, and it is, people do seem to go that extra mile when he's in the house. It's going to be pretty incredible.
Can't wait to see what unfolds.
Absolutely. Look, that's us for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Raymond.
Me, Ali Pottinger.
And our old mate, Andrew McDowall, who couldn't be here tonight because his daughter is singing at a, quote, fancy cathedral. So, she's keeping up the family business. But we're on all the podcast platforms, so like, follow, and give us a rating. It helps. We're on social media at Dirt Church Radio, and you can email us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com.
Remember to sign up to our Substack for a weekly newsletter and aid station podcast. Also, remember to write in with your greatest run ever. We'd love to hear from you, and you can read them on the website too. And thanks to our supporters, Further Faster, That's It, Squadron, and our Substack subscribers in the DCR aid station crew.
Stay tuned for our show in 2 weeks. We have another really great guest lined up. Mā te wā.